Welcome to Everything CPA and Private Equity, where we unpack the evolving relationship between accounting firms, private equity, and other strategics. I'm David Wolfskehl, a partner at Whitman Transition Advisors.
And I'm Phil Whitman, CEO of Whitman Transition Advisors. And we've chatted with more than 150 private equity groups. We've actually closed over 40 transactions with those private equity groups. And we're bringing you firsthand insights from the front lines.
And whether you're exploring your first deal, putting your toe in the water, refining your strategy, we're here to guide you with real stories, expert advice, actionable takeaways. Let's dive in. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Everything CPA and Private Equity. I'm here with my partner, Phil. Our goal is to give leadership teams insights and ideas so that they can make the best decisions for themselves, for their firms, for their clients. And today we're going to talk about it's sort of association season. You know, we just came back from BDO. I'm doing a lineal. Phil's going to Engage. We have Mariner, Wealth. What am I missing? I can't believe accounting today.
Today, of course, in San Diego, our friend Dan Hood is doing the Firm Growth Forum, and we've got a bunch of people that are heading out there. Then we'll sort of roll into the second busy season, although some people would tell me there's no longer busy seasons. We're busy all year round. But This is something I think firms make time for, because it's important for leaders and partners at firms not only to get their CPE, but to mingle with other leaders at firms, to hear what's going on, to validate what they've been seeing and hearing, and I think in some cases help nudge them along either one way or the other.
Yep. And look, at Whitman Transition Advisors, we're not saying, although this is an Everything PE podcast, but our mindset, our DNA is we want to help people accomplish their goals. And so if you want to remain independent, we want to help you thrive. But, we also want to discuss that we're going to 7 or 8 of these different events. And 3 years ago, these events were CPA events with some private equity guys maybe lurking around, maybe 4 years ago, right? But it was CPA and those guys, and they were very exotic. People didn't know what they were and didn't really understand, and still some understanding issues.
Yeah.
So
today,
Phil, why don't you talk about today, right?
Yeah.
Are they still those people who are over there?
No, it's very interesting, David. They're front and center. As a matter of fact, the best of conferences are highlighting what's going on with private equity, either panel sessions with firms that have taken investments and actually showcasing the leaders and founders. At BDO, there was a session where, we saw, the CEO, Josh, at the newly founded Sorin, together with Jake Sloan at Crete and Alex at F3. And, these were sessions that, I kid you not, there was standing room at the back of the room only. I mean, people were billowing out of the doors. Now, I will also say, at the very same time, at the very same conference, I did a session on everything you need to do to remain independent in this new and changing CPA environment. And I remember joking with some of my team members, because at the same time, there were other great sessions that were going on. And I was like,
Great, but
thank you, David. I thought, I know I'm going to have at least 6 people in my room. And it was a packed room with over 200 people. And some of those very same people that I later saw in sessions with the private equity folks. So what that tells me is there's a lot of indecision out there, a lot of exploring going on, which is very important. I think excitement. I think when people hear the stories of the leaders of firms that have taken investments and how wonderful it's going, Okay. And not as in that Wall Street Journal article, no dings on quality. As a matter of fact, as per our prior episode, quality's getting better. And for many of those firms, whether it's, an ascend or a creep like model where you've got multiple firms that for all intent and purposes are remaining independent, same leadership, same culture, same name, no change. I think there's a lot of people that really don't understand the evolution of private equity investments in public accounting and the partnering model as opposed to P's coming in, they're kicking butt, they're throwing people out, they're making you fire clients. And you know what? If you're not killing your people for results, then you're not going to make it. That's not what's happening in public accounting. We are human resource, people centered business. Quite frankly, I think they got it. But, at these conferences, got firms that have taken investments, talking to firms that are either thinking about it or have totally decided that they're against it.
That's
And,
okay.
and what's the one thing we keep talking about, David? I think it's private equity's here to stay. We've
And
mentioned
I
this
think
before.
And I think that these trade shows, association meetings, how would you kick out right now? All these established firms are private equity backed. Isner, Citroen, Jerry Becker, then we could go down the list. We have these new players, the Ascends, the Creeds, although their names might not be on the door, who are, $100 million, $200 million, $300 million firms. So to me, when I go to these events, there's no way to unwind private equity. For those who think this might be a fad, that this might be something that doesn't last, how would you unwind private
But
equity from this industry?
That's so true, David. And by the way, I misspoke. I kind of got it confused. Josh from Sorens was on a panel of firms that took it. The private equity was David Wurzbacher at Ascend, Jake Sloan, and Alex from
Alex.
F3. And it's interesting when you added up the total revenues of the three of them up on the stage, it was $1 billion of CPA firm revenue. It was, which is amazing because none of them have been added for more than 2 years, 2
Right. We
years.
did CBS's first deal. When was that? July 31st, 23.
That's right. That's right. And
20.
a year later, they were 250 million, and now they're 400 million, and it's not yet 2 full years.
And so if you're listening to this and thinking, do I jump in or not? Timing is timing, right? But if you're thinking, I want to see if this is going to gain traction and be part of this, it's a done deal. And I think you, as a leader's decision, really is, do I want to compete? And how am I going to thrive in this new environment? Or how am I going to do something with this new environment?
To that end, David, I mean, let's look, whether you're a $5 million firm or 10, or as in RRBB's case, they were $20 million when they did a transaction with Crete. Well, while the firm wasn't totally integrated, 3 months later, they did 2 acquisitions and they were approaching $40 million. So in 3 months, so imagine, you're a $5 million firm. It's taken you a lifetime or a career to build to 5 or 7 million. And imagine the next 2 or 3 years, a strategic investor coming in, letting you do things the way you've been doing them, helping you with the tech stack, giving you a capital stack, helping you hire people. Now, all of a sudden, maybe in the last 3 to 5 years of your career, doubling or even tripling the revenues of your firm and doing it in a quality manner.
Yep. So I think, any final thoughts? My big thought for today's podcast is it ain't ever going backwards. Private, this isn't a fad. This isn't something like H&R Block, Paps, and American Express where they'll sell back out. This is ingrained in your industry, and and competition is going to change no matter what your decision is.
David, that's an accurate statement. And the thing that I would say is, while we support this, we have partnered with and helped many of the private equity groups that we work with achieve some of their successes. The thing that I would say to every CPA firm leader out there is we always like to take a multi-pronged approach. And some of the very firms that have taken investments started with us and said, you know what? I just need to know what's going on so I can share with my partners. I'm never going to do a private equity
Never, ever going to do it.
Right. Never say never, because, sometimes, during that education process, you know, a light bulb goes off and somebody says, hey, you know what? Maybe this isn't so bad. So, but the thing that I would tell you is whether you want to remain independent, you need to know what's going on. You need to know who your competitors are. And we've met with 207, to be exact, 207 strategic investors in the public accounting marketplace. And, I view us as a Sherpa to help you along your journey, whether you want to remain independent or explore what's going on.
And one of the things that we've been spending a lot of time on is working with executive level teams just to say, here's what's going on from, we see it. Here's what your new competitors look like. Here's what some recent transactions are. And so if you would like to get some real facts, for your leadership team, we're always happy to have those conversations. And we've set up, a defined way that we share that information. So,
David, the last thing I'll say, you mentioned at the beginning, it's conference season. I know you're down in Miami getting ready for the Allineal Executive Team Conference, and there's going to be many leaders there. And when I look at Allineal, some amazing, great firms there. You've got great firms like EisnerAmper and Cherry Becker that have taken an investment. And you've got smaller firms like KNAF that have taken investment, but then you got giants like Wolf and Company that have made a decision that they're going to remain independent, and so there's not a one size fits all. You need to look at your firm, and if you believe you can remain independent with some help, you probably can. But again, you do need to know who your competitors are going to be out there. So, David, I just want to say, have a successful conference. I know you're out there with Rick Fisher, our managing director, former EisnerAmper partner, and go out there and crush that meeting and share what we know, because that's what we do best.
Yep. And look, if you're going to be at Allineal or BDO, which is in the past at this point, or Engage or Accounting Today, come say hello to our team. We're happy to help. So for Phil and David, everybody go crush your day. Thank you. Look at the associations, look at these meetings. There is no way that this is being unwound as it was in the past. This is the new reality, and get ready to thrive in it, right? So.
Thank you for tuning into Everything CPA and Private Equity. Every episode brings fresh insight. However, there's always more to talk about. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe wherever you watch podcasts. Have a question or topic you'd like us to cover, we'd love for you to reach out to us. Together, we will help you navigate this dynamic landscape so that we can help you achieve your goals. Until next time, keep making moves that matter. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.